Today, I'm making more progress on my Levin hatchback restomod restoration thing by, well, you can't see it here, but I'm getting the GTS fuel system hooked up. So here's my GTS fuel tank, and I've started routing the GTS lines underneath the car, which has really been interesting because they've been removed from another vehicle. And since being removed and stored in their garage and then stored in my garage and stored in this car and all this other stuff put on top of it, they've gotten a little bent, a little tweaked, not bad. But now I'm just trying to get them all fitted up, and it's just been interesting because I haven't ever replaced these lines or done these, this kind of lines before. Last time I did anything in the fuel lines, I just ripped out the stock stuff and put AN lines and stainless steel braided lines in. So this is interesting, a little different. So I've got the lines kind of set up back here. They have to go over the axle, so I've got that done. Now in the front, I have to get these stuffed up into that hole there. And as I've been sitting here underneath the car, I've noticed a few things, like there's some rust in a few spots where there was stitch welding done. So, I have a few things to clean up. Oh, here's that giant bolt I put in the car from when I was transporting the car, and that bolt fell out. That's my that's my replacement. I'm just noticing a few things I'm gonna have to fix on the car at some point. So later on, I need to put the car on a lift so that way I can clean up all these rusty areas and clean them and re-undercoat and all that stuff. This would be so much easier if I had a lift and a buddy to help me do this, but one, I don't have a lift, and two, I'm not patient enough to wait for someone to come over and help me, so. Dang it. I'm realizing something. These lines are supposed to go kind of up and around the transmission, and these would have been way easier to install with the engine and transmission out. All right, fuel lines are bolted up. Fuel tank is mostly bolted up. I can't get one of the straps on. I just don't have enough room. And as you can see, it's wet out here. It's been raining like crazy this last week. So I got most of the fuel stuff sorted, and then it started raining. And so I called it quits. And now the ground's all wet. So I'm gonna work on something else, like this quarter glass. So this is something I needed to replace. And luckily all the parts I picked up came with new clips. Because it's like 250 bucks for all these clips from Toyota. So I've got all clips. Most of them are in good condition. And so what I did was I stripped most of this off of the old sealant using one of these guys from 3M. I don't know what the part number is. It's a little rubber eraser wheel thing. Just hook it up to a drill. I showed how to use it in one of my previous videos showing how to install Lexan windows. So I did that to strip all the old sealant off, and as you can see, I got down to actually below that layer of paint, and there's more rubber sealant, so I'm gonna have to do some more work to strip this down completely. Plus, you can see there's little bits of rust here, and then also you can see there's holes. So I still need to strip that down completely all the way around the edge of the window, so I can weld up the holes from, looks like previously installed Lexan windows. But in the meantime, I'm at least getting the window kind of fitted up. I'm gonna kind of tape it into place. That way, when it rains like it is now, I can stop, getting a ton of water inside of the car, because that's all soaked down there. So putting the window in is gonna help. The fun part about getting a old window set up is you have to remove all the old sealant. It's pretty, it's actually pretty easy. I just took a razor blade and bent it and curved it a little bit so that way I can scoop all the sealant out. So that's what I'm doing now, is I'm scraping that all off, so that way there's not going to be any sticky stuff when I put the window on there, so at least I can just get an idea of what it's going to look like, and then tape it up. Okay, I got most of the stuff scraped off, so now I'm going to set the window on the car. So you see I've got a bunch of these clips already here. This is kind of practice for when I actually glue the window in. We've got these tabs that I'm going to be able to use to help line up the window. Oop. Come on. Yeah. That'll be easier when I use two hands, but there the window's in. I'm just going to put a couple of these little clips in up here to hold it. It still seems like it's gonna, yeah, I might rattle around a little bit, so I gotta grab some tape to make sure I kind of hold it so it doesn't break in the wind or something like that. All right, that is all taped up-ish. It's better for the rain that's coming in soon, at least, so it'll keep more water out of the car. Aside from the rain, the other thing that's holding me up from getting this done is I'm waiting on the supplies. So I thought I'd just go down to the auto parts store and pick up some stuff. I decided to spend a little bit more money, order some stuff online, so that way I can make sure I have a much better seal on that. I got some special primer that's supposed to help with that kind of area, as well as like you can put it right over old urethane. All right, I'm gonna do some welding today. When the previous window was installed, you know, there's some glue placed on top of other glue and paint and stuff, but there's also all these holes for when a Lexan window was installed. So every single one of these holes needs to be welded up, so that way I'm not getting water inside the car. I'm gonna use this guy, a welding spoon, to help with that. So you place that on the back side of the hole, and then you weld it up and fill it in and then grind it smooth. This is made out of copper, so weld shouldn't stick to it since everything's meant for steel. At least that's the stuff I have is going to be for steel, so yeah. Okay, so those holes for the window are all welded up. When you're getting a tight space to grind smooth, you got to pick up something like this. This is just a cheap Harbor Freight like finger sander or whatever you want to call it. First time I used it, it seemed to go pretty well. Well, the holes are welded up now. You know, there's a couple of them that aren't like perfectly smooth. You see like there's little dimples in them, but they're solid all the way through. So I'm not super worried about that because someone put some primer on it, and then the glue for the window will, like, you know, fill that whole area. But while I've got the window out, I'm gonna weld up a couple other holes. Okay, the camera died, but I was trying to show you what the stuff was that I was working on aside from welding up the holes for the window. And of course, just because the camera dies doesn't mean that the work stops. So I kept on going while the battery charged, and boom, ba-da-da, window is glued in. That was a learning experience. But I was also welding up a couple of holes back here. Boom, boom. There were two holes from a strut tower brace. You can see there's still some there. I think they are from a Honda Civic or something, or it was from a Honda Civic. There's another thing that I welded up. This car used to have a roll cage, so, or a bolt-in roll bar. So that was, that's been done there, welded up those holes, which, now I'm looking at it, I realized I forgot to primer. I'm gonna grab the primer and primer that, and then I'll be done for today. I also primered up here where it was rusty against the firewall, so that's a little better. So hopefully it won't rust there. Now that things are welded up on this side, I just need to come over and weld up the things on this side. So those two holes, and then 3 more holes up there from the roll bar. And then I think I should be good to put all the interior in. I have all the interior just chilling over deer. Oh, so exciting. back on the parts car, I need to get the wiring harness out of it so I can get that put into the hatchback, so that way things can work. I don't know if the rear harness, I've already got it pulled from the trunk. I don't know if this is the same for a coupe as it is for a hatchback. So I'm gonna get this pulled and ready to go in the car. Should be interesting, because a lot of these old plastic clips just break when you try and remove them. Okay, harness is out of the parts car. Now time to just kind of lay it in this car to see where it all sits up at. Harness is like 99% routed. I don't know if this is actually the right place for it to route over here. This is how it goes on the coupe, so I'm assuming that's right. A few differences. The trunk light for the coupe is over here, and on the hatchback it's actually right back here in the middle. So I'll have to extend wiring over here. There's a ground for the coupe that normally bolts on down here, so I'll probably have to do something for that ground. And that's really about it. You know, it routes pretty good there. Oh, I'll probably also have to extend, this is for the trunk release switch, so it knows it's open. So a few little things, but for the most part, that route's pretty much the same. Okay, so now that I've got that, I'm gonna see if I can get the trunk and the gas lid release cables routed in here as well. So kind of a neat thing, the coupe trunk release cable works for a hatchback. It's pretty much the same length, snaps on no problem. I have some alignment issues with the hatch to the latch here, or the striker or whatever, so I have to adjust that. Couldn't get it quite set up right. I did get the seat put in, at least the passenger seat, so that was really cool. First time actually sitting in a seat when it's bolted into the car. But as I was sitting here going, wow, this is really comfy, I'm really happy about these GTS seats, I look up and I go, why is there light coming through right there? Huh. Turns out, I think that's the only spot luckily, but turns out there's some rust there. So that's always going to leak. So I got more rust repair to do on this. I'm gonna have to pull the windshield, probably weld in a piece to replace that. I might just grab, you know, cut the one off of the parts car and weld that in. I'm not really looking forward to that because it's super thin metal, and welding on super thin metal is not very fun. It warps super easy, so yeah. But at least I have a seat in my car, and it's kind of neat. Now I just got to fix the driver's side mounts, because you know that one's torn out from the chassis, and this one's blown out completely. Once I fix those, I can set the driver's seat in here. Okay, so the next wiring harness I need to get is the under dash harness here. So I got to pull the dash out to get that out, so I can pull it out, and it's gonna need some repairs. Like over here, you know, they had the Altezza cluster installed, and so they clipped a bunch of wires and crimped them in. So I'm gonna repair these wires as best I can. So the problem is some of them they left a really short pigtail there, so it's not like it's very easy to fix that. So I'll do the best I can. I might have a spare underdash harness, but if I did, it's probably gonna be in my wiring box with a bunch of other harnesses. So I'm gonna get this one out and then get it set up in the hatch, and then I will see what all needs to be repaired, and I'll try and locate my other harness to see if I can merge the two and make one good one. Right, wrapping it up here. I got all that stuff pulled. I got all the dash stuff pulled finally, which that was kind of fun. I had to pull, to get the wiring harness out, you had to pull the dash and all that stuff. That was okay. And then I had to pull the dash bar, beam. Okay, so I got to pull that. And then I had to pull the HVAC stuff out, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I got all that out, and I also grabbed the insulation. There's normally like an insulation barrier here in between the firewall and everything. So I pulled that out. I got that put in there. I still have more interior to pull. I need to pull this headliner down, get this crossbar out, get the wiring harness that goes to that, and you know, obviously pull all this stuff out. I still have lots more room to go on the parts car, but I think this is where I'm gonna wrap it up for this video. I finally have some dash structure in here. I got the crossbeam back in, I got the wiring harness in there for the most part. I still have to bolt it up in each corner, you know, it's still kind of dingle-dangling down here. But look, there's HVAC and everything in here now too. It's starting to look quite a bit more like a car. But then you look back here and there's a bunch of junk still, so. We're making progress, slowly but surely. So in the next video, I don't know, maybe I'll have more interior stuff done. Maybe. Not really sure what the next step is for the hatchback. I know I've still got some more stuff to swap over from the parts car. Still got a ton of crap to strip from the parts car so I can scrap it, because I have, you know, I have 4 cars in my driveway. I have this, and then I also have my drift car. My drift car is sitting over in storage, so man, I just got so many things I just need to clean up. Because aside from the car, I also have more parts, doors, Celica Super N, I gotta build that, rebuild that. Big box to ship out some parts. I'm gonna ship out the dash and everything from this car to a buddy of mine. Yeah, I just have a bunch of stuff to clear out. So like, comment, subscribe, share, all that stuff. If you have questions, comments, suggestions, all of that, put it below. Thanks.